please just give me a live-action Lion King movie just like this one. Welcome to Movie Reedviews, where I review movies, and my last name's Reed, so I made a pun for it. I'm going to be reviewing Jungle Book. It's the 2016 version. You have like the old classic Disney one from the 60s, and then you have another version from like the 90s that Disney made, a live-action version. But this one is actually from 2016, directed by Jon Favreau, and it stars Neil Sethi as Mowgli. How do you not know the plot of the Jungle Book? You have Mowgli, who's been raised by like wolves, and he befriends different animals like a panther and a bear, but then this tiger wants to go after him because he's a man cub, and man and children, they don't belong in the jungle. It's for animals and the outdoors, wildlife. So it's really for, animals, it's not really for man, so the tiger's against him. Mowgli befriends all these different animals who also try to help him get to this village, maybe be with his own kind instead of being in the jungle, and you kind of have this whole, long-lasting tale of this boy and his animal friends in the jungle, and let's see where it goes. Now this adaptation, like I mentioned, 2016, Jon Favreau's version, it's going to be the version that people think about when they think of Jungle Book. When you mention that to someone, they're going to think of this version. Everything that you see in this movie, besides Mowgli, besides the kid, everything was CGI. Everything was generated through computer and computer effects. So you have movies recently that have done a really great job with that, like Rise of the Planet of the Apes and the sequel Dawn of Planet of the Apes. They do a really good job with the apes, but they actually filmed mostly in locations like outdoors, and then they just added the apes in later. This movie, everything you see here, I'm going to put up a couple shots, all this outdoor stuff is CGI. They didn't go to the jungle, so all the animals are computer generated and they look amazing, but also all the outdoors and everything you see was also just shot on a Los Angeles soundstage, like different green screens and in a studio indoors. So all of these shots that you're seeing are computer generated. That was just amazing. That was one of the best and biggest highlights of this movie that I can compliment it on would be its effects. Now the kid who plays Mowgli actually doesn't do a bad job, especially when you imagine this kid, maybe, I don't know how old he is, 10 or 11 years old, he's just acting against a bunch of green screen stuff. And so he actually, thinking about that, he does a pretty good job. It's just some of the line delivery that he gave was like, occasionally it was hit or miss, but his actual acting and what he was looking at and his surroundings and how he acted towards that, I thought he did a pretty good job doing that. Now for some of the main animals, you have Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, and you have Bill Murray as Baloo. These two do a fantastic job, even though it's just voice acting. I feel like their voices just fit perfectly to the way that their characters were created through the computer. Baloo's kind of like a bumbling bear and kind of like the comic relief in the movie, and I think the movie actually steps up a little bit when he is entered into the movie, like his character. And then Bagheera, Ben Kingsley's voice I think is just perfect for that. Another perfect role was Idris Elba as Shere Khan. He is menacing as this tiger. You really get to find out his motives and why he's trying to go after this man cub, and I think Idris Elba, maybe his voice acting was actually the best out of everyone. So some other minor animals, you have Lupita Nyong'o as the wolf Raksha, and Scarlett Johansson plays Kaa the snake, and I think they do a fine job for what their roles are. They're pretty minor. But then you also have classic Christopher Walken as King Louie, this like giant orangutan, and you get to hear him sing. That was actually one of the negatives I thought in the movie, because you only hear like two songs. You hear the orangutan and the monkey singing, and then you hear, of course, Bare Necessities. And there were no other real songs in the movie, but like his part, I thought he just did a fantastic job. Like his voice just matched the orangutan for some reason. But swipe that away. As far as the music goes, I just felt like we could have added a little more songs, because when the two songs played, it just kind of felt a little bit jarring from the rest of the movie, because you see the animals talk and everything, but you don't really see them sing or hear them sing. So I think if they would have just added maybe another song or two, it kind of would have helped that transition for me better. But pretty much everything else in the movie I enjoyed. If you like the old Jungle Book, I think this improves on that by a lot. I actually like this story a lot more, especially like the last act and the ending. So if you like that, if you like The Lion King, if you like Zootopia, these things where you really get to see these animals interact in different ways, like see them talk or walk or move around, I think you'll really enjoy this version. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars, like I mentioned. Just some of the line delivery from Mowgli was okay, and then I wish they would have maybe just had an extra song or two, but everything else, the voice acting was perfect, the effects were amazing. Great film. What are your thoughts? Have you seen these other Jungle Book movies, like the live-action version? Hopefully you've seen the cartoon because it's classic. So let me know, what's your favorite version of the Jungle Book? Is it this new one if you've seen it? Leave some comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Movie Reedviews. And hopefully I'll be reviewing some other movies coming out. I might see Huntsman, or I might be seeing Captain America Civil War in a couple weeks, so look for that. I'll see you next time.